I played Radiant Historia recently and I liked it a lot. It's not in my top 5 JRPGs or anything, but it's up there. I liked it more than a lot of the ones I played recently. And so I figured I'd look at reviews of it. Anytime I finish a game, I like to check out reviews and find out what other people think, especially these games critics these days. You never know what they're going to say. So, right here I've got the IGN review. Let's have a look. Alright, Radiant Historia review. Alright, reading this intro here. This seems accurate. Oh, stop. Well, he's got an E on the end of his name. I suppose that they forgot about that. I don't know, maybe it's a mistake. Oh, on this one here, there also isn't an E. So, I don't know. Is there no oversight on this? That seems like an obvious mistake that they ought to have caught with a little bit of oversight. Anyway, it's not a huge deal, I guess, but it makes me a little bit less confident in this review. So, alright, they're describing what happens in the game here. Yep, that's all fine. Alright, let's have a look down here. Alright, it talks about how there's a lot of outcomes, and yeah, that's accurate, but it's a grind to relive certain moments over and over again. I don't know about that. Is it really? I mean, you're able to skip any cutscene almost instantly. I'd say that the most you ever have to replay is, I don't know, maybe 3 minutes at the very most. The game gives you a way to avoid all combat almost immediately by hitting R to make yourself invisible, and then enemies can't attack you at all that way. Then even if you have to backtrack, it's not very long at all. So, I don't know about that. Let's see. And then they talk about how exploring countless outcomes adds to the game's replay value. I don't know that that's accurate either. I mean, the whole concept of the game is that you replay scenarios as you go, and then by the end of the game, you've explored everything, and there isn't really any reason to replay anything. Alright, moving on. Talking about the battles here. Oh, awesome. I like the battles a lot in this game. So, yeah, just a description of how it works. 3x3 grid. Alright, and that's all accurate. And after that, she talks about how it's fun and has a lot of strategy. Okay. Why does it have a lot of strategy? Okay, yeah, explaining, a little bit about how you can do double attacks, you can manage the turn order. There's not really a lot of information about how that works. I would expect, as a reader of this review, wanting to figure out if I want to buy this game, I'd want to know some more about how that works. Anyway, coordinating the position of your party has an effect. Yep, it does initially in the game. Yeah, that's huge. And it eventually becomes necessary for survival. I'd say that's the exact opposite. At the start of the game, you basically have to, otherwise the battles are going to take a long time. But by around halfway through, you don't really have to do a lot of positioning anymore, I'd say, because you get stronger spells and all these options. So that seems totally wrong, but alright. Yeah, the visuals are nice. I don't remember any invisible walls in the game at all. Yeah, I can't think of any. I mean, there's spots where you're not allowed to go into an area that's unrelated to the story at the time, but that's not really an invisible wall. It's just stock will go, oh, I gotta hurry off onto this other area. I can't go here yet. Yeah, and that's pretty common, and I don't really mind that. So, okay. The characters are awkward when they're in motion. Are there any examples of that? I mean, I can't think of any at all. I thought the animation was excellent in this game, so I don't really understand that one. Let's see here. A little too text-heavy at times, I suppose, but yeah, it is really involving, and I was interested almost the whole time. The start of the game was a little bit slow, though, and she mentions that here, so alright, that's fair enough. Yeah, the music is excellent, but I thought that it got really old after a while, and there isn't enough of it. I'm surprised that there wasn't any mention of that at all in this review. So, alright, that's IGN, I guess. This review didn't really have a lot of info in it at all, and I don't know how anyone reading this would have an understanding of how Radiant Historia works at all. But anyway, let's move on. Let's check out the Polygon review. Now this one is of the 3DS remake, which is called Perfect Chronology. Now, I haven't played this version, but I've read enough about it. I think I understand the differences. So basically, the art style was updated, and I looked up images of it online. I'm not a fan of it as much as the original, if I'm being honest. And I think objectively it clashes with the heavier, war-based tone and story of the game. But other than that, it's a matter of your personal taste, so I can understand if you like the new style. It's just a little bit too anime for me. And while I like anime styles a lot, actually, I think that the original style of this game fits it better. Other than that, there's a few added events in the existing story of the game, and so I don't know anything about those. And then there's also a whole new timeline, which, as I understand, doesn't really add anything to the experience. It doesn't affect the story or the outcome in any way. So I'm not too worried about having to understand all that when I read this review. And then the last difference I'm aware of is that there's an easy mode, and I suppose it makes battles optional. I don't really know a lot about that. But anyway, let's read here. Atlases. Wait, is there supposed to be an S after Atlases? That's how you spell Atlases. It's a singular noun, so yeah, we need some edit in here, I guess. It ought to be Atlases, apostrophe S. Finds its true brilliance as a visual novel, huh? Man, this game is nothing like a visual novel at all. So, this ought to be interesting. All right, Jeremy Parrish. Yeah, all right. Let's read. All right, intro. Yeah. Okay, he's hating on the visuals a little bit. Yeah, it's an older game. I mean, what do you expect? So, but on the other hand, that's fair enough. I mean, this came out in, I think, 2016. So, yeah, that's fair. All right, he's starting off with the easy mode, I suppose, here. Okay, story. Yeah, the friendly difficulty level, right there. He's talking about this right off the bat rather than talking about the actual game, so that's a little strange. I mean, wouldn't he want to mention that at the end rather than make it the focus of the whole review? That seems a little strange, because I think that most players are going to want to play it on the normal difficulty, right? That's what most of us do, I think. You could readily assume it's an easy mode. I mean, it is, right? Yes, it is an easy mode. I don't know why he's talking like it's not. And it was once a flawed RPG, becomes a stellar visual novel. What? So he would rather have a visual novel than the original RPG that the game is? Okay, and yes, it's a flawed game, but it was excellent otherwise. I mean, all games are flawed, so that's a little strange. Well, at least he spells stock right. That's good. Okay, it comes with a downside. You end up watching the same cutscenes over and over again. No, you can skip all of them, man. You didn't skip any of them? That's on you, buddy. I mean, it's an option. It's obvious. You just hit start, like every other JRPG. So that's, yeah, I mean, that's a lie. You don't have to rewatch anything at all in this game. Fast forward the dialogue. Yeah, well, yep, that was in the original. That's right. And then he says it's unfortunate that you had to play through sequences again. Yeah, and again, that's not quite accurate. I mean, you don't have to really replay hardly anything. I think there was maybe only a few events in the whole game where you had to replay whole chunks again. Usually the points that you're able to jump to are right before the spots where the story branches off, and you never have to replay anything, except a few times. And again, you can skip through all the dialogue, skip all the battles, and just get there in maybe 3 minutes. So I feel like that's not a huge issue, considering this is a 40-hour game easy, but hey man, you do you. Yeah, and then he mentions that you have to fight through identical battles multiple times. And again, that only happens about 3 times in the whole game, and there's hundreds of events in the game. So yeah, you might have to fight a battle again, but it's not identical, because at that point you'll be stronger, your party members, and it'll be a lot easier and more fun being able to just stomp through the bosses that you might have struggled with earlier. So, alright. Let's see here. He talks about how the combat, yeah, it gets a little old after a while, and while that's true in the early game, I'd say, eventually you're switching up your party members all the time, and it's always fun because you get different options the whole time. And again, battles are where almost all of the fun of this game is. The choices you make don't really impact anything. They just lead to alternate endings, and then the game's over, and you just restart anyway. So that's why I don't understand why you would ever want to skip all the battles. Like, huh? That's very strange, man. Very strange. Right, removing all the combat. Yeah, no, that sounds awful. That's where all of the gameplay is. Yeah, the story is interesting enough, but it ain't like reading a Russian novel or something. I mean, it's not that good. It's just reasonably well written for an RPG. So, I don't quite understand why he's pushing this visual novel angle so hard. And the game also has nothing in common with visual novels anyway. I mean, this is an RPG. Outside of battle, you're going to item shops and weapon shops, you're doing side quests, you're helping townsfolk out. There's not really any optional dialogue or people you can speak to that influence the story at all. So it's not like a visual novel, and I don't know that this author really understands what a visual novel even is. So, alright, yes, combat is required. It's an RPG. That's that's why you'd be interested in this. If you're not interested in that, why aren't you just reading a novel, an actual novel, or picking up a visual novel, a real visual novel? Alright, let's keep going here. The plot shines, yeah, it splits, yeah, this is all obvious. He's describing what's happening here. Alright, there's not that much more content as I understand. It's not 50% more, there's no way. Alright, and the Vault of Time, I can't comment on that. I don't know anything about that. Okay, here we go. By no means is it the only way. Yeah, so why wouldn't you talk about the friendly mode at the end? Like, this much ought to be how much you speak about friendly mode, and the rest of this review ought to be about the regular difficulties, right? So strange. Countless battles. Yeah, it's an RPG. There's a lot of battles. That's the fun part. And again, it's not a hard game anyway, so I don't know why you would want to stick with friendly mode. That's a little strange. Anyway, I thought this was a very strange review, so I hope y'all enjoyed this. If I got anything wrong, let me know in the comments, and have a blessed day.